And welcome back to the Hot Lap. Finally, our Hungarian Grand Prix preview. Does Lando Norris have what it takes, or will he be Oscar Piastri'd again like he was at the Belgian Grand Prix? Will Lewis Hamilton come good at one of his most successful circuits? All this and more in our Hungarian Grand Prix preview. So it is race week. Well, it was race week a couple of days ago, but it is now just about Wednesday, the 30th of July as we're recording this. And, well, let's have a look. They got on the poster. Oscar Piastri makes sense. Albon and Bortoletto. Random, but I like it. And to be fair, the Mercedes at the bottom, I think that's Antonelli. That kind of makes sense because Mercedes, we expect them to go potentially strong-ish here, maybe. Let's get into it, shall we? So, Lando Norris, though, when we're looking at the Hungarian Grand Prix, Lando Norris has the best quali record in the history with a 6-0 record in Hungary. Can he repeat it? Will he continue? If you remember, this is where the controversies began between Piastri and Lando Norris, when Lando Norris got the lead because they pitted him before. They were worried about him losing third place after losing the lead to Piastri, because he had pole. Piastri took the lead early on, and then the undercut got Lando Norris the lead, and then McLaren begged and begged him to let Oscar Piastri through, which he did eventually, but the whole thing was quite embarrassing, really, and it divided, I think, the F1 community as well. So this is the Budapest preview via Pirelli. They're using the C3, C4 and C5. It's going to be 70 laps, a total distance of 306.63 kilometres, the circuit length of 4.3 some average, with a lap record of 116.627. And that, I think, is from 2020 Lewis Hamilton. Could it be beaten? Maybe. In terms of traction, Pirelli have marked it quite high, 4 out of 5. The actual grip, kind of like halfway, is including the abrasion. But the track evolution is 4, simply because it's always known to be quite dusty here. So, kind of like Monaco, but maybe not as extreme. This used to be called a Monaco without the barriers. It was so twisty and tight, believe it or not. And the tyre stress is in the middle, kind of like a 3 with the braking. And the lateral, the downforce, though, we are looking at maximum downforce here for Hungary. So this is the Drivers' Championship standings after the Belgian Grand Prix. We've got Oscar Piastri leading on 266. Lando Norris 16 points behind. Max Verstappen even more behind that. But insignificantly, he is ahead enough of George Russell, where if you were to believe that contract clause, if Verstappen was in not in the top 3 by the summer break, he could leave Red Bull. Yeah, lots of people are now reporting that he's going to be staying. Leclerc still ahead of Hamilton by 30 odd points. And Kimi Antonelli very much in 7th place. So let's have a look then at the big constructors, which is McLaren absolutely dominating with 10 wins, 22 podiums, 8 poles, and 9 fastest laps. That's impressive, isn't it? Ferrari, though, are second, funnily enough, with only 4 podiums, 0 wins, 0 poles. Double points at 11. McLaren have double points on 12 occasions, so not bad there. Next up is Mercedes, points on 220, with just the 1 win, the 6 podiums, the 1 pole, the 3 fastest laps. Ferrari on 0, remember, and 6 double points. 1 pointless race, though, for both Ferrari and Mercedes. None for McLaren. McLaren have scored points in every race so far. Red Bull, they've got their 2 wins, thanks to Max Verstappen, 6 podiums, 4 poles, 1 fastest lap, and 3 double points. And 1 pointless race as well, probably thanks to Yuki Tsunoda, because that was, I think, I'm not sure, that must have been Austria when Max Verstappen got T-boned by a certain Kimi Antonelli. So this is the new Hungarian. Well, I say new, the start-finish straight is new, it looks new. And they've completely redone it. The asphalt is slightly darker. Is it going to provide more grip coming out the last corner? Who knows? Only time will tell. But I do think, yeah, we've got obviously the main building there, which I am assuming is going to potentially house the media as well. There's the new grandstands in the start-finish straight. It looks a lot more enclosed now, doesn't it? But it does look really nice. That I can't ignore that. It is looking quite sweet for Hungary, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that when the drivers put their first times sort of in anger in that practice session. But that is enough from that. So let's now get into the drivers, shall we? So what I'd like to do this time around is something a little bit different. We are looking at the drivers, but we're going to look at them in order of who I think is favourite or has the biggest chance to win. So understandably, we're going to be looking who has the least chance to win. And the least chance to win, sadly, this guy here, Colapinto. Arguably the man that has the most to lose, because this guy is under the most pressure coming into Hungary with a... Well, he's other than doing, he has not scored any points so far. He's maybe looked like he could a couple of times, but once again, compared to that initial run in the Williams last year, exceedingly average. As is this guy here, I think. Last show I saw, was it a Silverstone or was it in I think Belgium? For that drivers parade, they put it on TikTok and the YouTube shorts. He just looked. Google it if you can. Search for it. He just looks so depressed. He looks so sad. Going along, I really felt for him. Next up, we have Gabriel Bortolo. Simply because of that, I don't think the car's good enough. It's going to be quite hard and twisty around Hungary. It is difficult, not impossible to pass, but one of the harder. Every weekend, Sky is always like, oh, it's really hard to pass it. It's really hard to pass it. Meaning every circuit's hard to pass. But this one, when they do say it, I kind of going to be inclined to agree with them there. And after Bortolo comes Nico Hulkenberg. Again, I think the car, as much as it's improved, I think it's not going to be the best weekend for Kick Sauber Stake F1. But we'll see. So, Carlos Sainz, who's been struggling at times compared to Alexander Albon, when you look at the whole season, he is coming good. But I think Albon is gonna beat him here. So, Gasly, the other Alpine, he's going to do well. He may well get into the top 10, but I think that's the best he can really do. The same with Liam Lawson. I think he's had good weekends. He seems to be improving, but overall, I think he's still being overshadowed by Hadjar. As is this guy here, Tsunoda. Where is Yuki Tsunoda going to be next year? I think the fact that Lauren Mekies is now being in that Red Bull team is very much the saving grace for Tsunoda. Now, Oliver Behrman. I think he'll do fairly well. Top 10, potentially, is on the cards, along with his teammate, Esteban Ocon. These two, I think, are going to be really close throughout the rest of the season in terms of their results. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what Haas can do. I think they've got a better chance than, for example, Stake F1, but we shall see. Now, with Fernando Alonso, as we know, the Aston Martin is quite draggy, but Fernando Alonso, he's won here. Funny enough, this was the home of his first win all the way back in 2003. So I think we can score a few points there, hopefully. Kimi Antonelli, he's not having, let's be honest, he's not really having the best of mid-season. He's very much in a mid-season slump. I'd like to think, hopefully, he's going to come good here. In the past, the Mercedes has been really, really good, and I think that's going to help him. But we'll see. Isaac Hadjar, arguably the best rookie of the year so far, is doing wonderfully, and I think that's going to continue. I'd be surprised if he's not in the top 10 at some point throughout the weekend. Next up, Alexander Albon. I think in terms of drivers doing absolutely amazing. You got Russell, you got Verstappen, and I also think now we're looking at Alexander Albon come the end of the year. He may well be in the top 5 best drivers of the year. When you look at it, he's doing absolutely fantastic, and I think points hopefully on the agenda for Williams. So Charles Leclerc, I've put him behind Lewis Hamilton simply because I think Hamilton has a better record at Hungary like he did at Silverstone, but I still think that Ferrari, I think, is going to be okay here. If they can get that sweet setup, they could be the big challengers to McLaren, but I don't think so. And the big challengers to McLaren may well be this guy. Now, Mercedes have kind of lost their way, I think, with developing the car in respect to George Russell. However, I can't help but feel that, like Ferrari, but even more so than Ferrari, if they get the setup right, I reckon they're looking. I think they're looking good. I think they're looking quite good. But Lewis Hamilton here, I've put him basically. We're down to the top 4. He could get a podium, but he's going to have to beat some fast drivers. if they get the setup absolutely right and he doesn't make a mistake, which he's been a bit prone to this year and the year before in qualifying, if he can qualify in that, I think, on the top 3 rows, most certainly in the top 2 rows, so in the top 4, maybe top 6, but definitely top 4, I think he's in with a shout of a podium. But Max Verstappen will pull something out of the bag, as he always does. And just like with that Ferrari and that nicotine Mercedes, if they can get the setup right, he can potentially do something and maybe even get in between the 2 McLarens. But second favourite goes to Oscar Piastri, simply because I think Lando Norris has got such a good record here. Yes, this is the home for Oscar's first win, but it wasn't the greatest first win, really, was it? Let's be honest, it was an absolute cluster, thanks to McLaren's strategy and the way McLaren handled it. But I do feel that Lando Norris, he absolutely has to come back on Oscar Piastri, win this, and leave that winning feeling going into that summer break. He absolutely has to, doesn't he? I think he's under quite a lot of pressure to do it. Whether he's gonna do it or not, I don't know. Now it's going to start with qualifying. I expect in practice, I think he's going to have the upper hand in practice and the upper hand in qualifying. But as we all know, it's that dreaded Q3 session, which he has done quite well of late. Remember, he was the pole guy in Belgium. So I think he'll do. I think he'll win it. It'll be a brave man, I think, that bets against a McLaren, and I think an even braver man that bets against Norris. In my humble opinion, some people have written Norris off. We certainly haven't yet. But then let's get into the track, shall we? So, there's Oliver Bearman. He just loves us so much, doesn't he? He wanted to make another appearance. But let's get into the track. So this is the Hungaroring, as it's called. This is the start-finish straight. We are go in a Ferrari into turn numero 1, which is quite tight. This is the end of that first DRS straight. As we see, this is where we're going to see the most overtake. It's quite sharp, almost like in between a U and a V, let's say. This is that second DRS zone where you do get passes here. It's always risky, though, side by side. Now, what you want to do is get the curve, and you can go pretty much hammer to the floor, flat out round this corner here, and put that power on really early. Not quite flat. We are going to have a brake and a slight lift around turn 4 into turn number 5. You don't want to clip that inside curve because it's going to spin for the chicane in 6 and 7. You want to come out of that really straight and then go through the turns number 8 and number 9 and then eventually number 10 and number 11. Really flowing. They kind of like get faster and faster, it feels like, into the next braking zone at 12. You want to brake early and then accelerate out. Using all of that curve as you go into the penultimate corner turn, penultimate 1, so the third ultimate, turn number 12 even, and turn number 13, and then ultimately turn number 14 as we come through again, and we want to put our pedal to that metal. Go. So that's pretty much the track guide. But let's have a talk about the big milestones, shall we, for the Hungarian Grand Prix. It's going to be the 139th World Championship event in Formula 1 history. It's going to be the 40th time that we've raced in Hungary. It's going to be the 41st Hungarian Grand Prix since the event was held in 1936, and the 40th time, as we mentioned, that the event has been part of the F1 World Championship calendar. The circuit becomes the 8th circuit to have as many as 40 F1 races. I hopefully won't mention the number 40 anymore, but I will mention Max Verstappen is set to make his 200th start with Red Bull at the 2025 Hungarian Grand Prix. He becomes only the second driver to make as many as 200 starts with a single team, after Lewis Hamilton making 246 starts with Mercedes between 2013 and 2024. Now, Leclerc makes his 140th start this weekend with Ferrari even, overtaking Felipe Massa as the driver with the most starts with the Scuderia. The 25 Hungarian Grand Prix will be the 7th F1 race to take place on August the 3rd. The German Grand Prix was held on this day in 52, 58, 69, 75 and 2003, while the 2008 Hungarian Grand Prix was the last race held on this day. Lap 56 of the 2025 Hungarian Grand Prix will be the 2,900th racing lap at the Hungarian in its history on the F1 calendar. Now, McLaren, as we know, they've recorded 1-2 results in all of the last 3 Grand Prix. Now, another 1-2 finish for this Hungarian Grand Prix would see McLaren equal with the longest streak of 1-2 finishes in their history. The only time they've taken 4 1-2 finishes was between the 1988 German and Belgian Grand Prix, and the victory for McLaren would mark the team's 200th Grand Prix win. McLaren will become the second team to reach that milestone after Ferrari did it in 2007. Now, if Lewis Hamilton leads 13 laps of the Hungarian Grand Prix, he will become the first driver to have led as many as 500 laps at a circuit in Formula 1. And if Oscar Piastri leads the championship after the 25 Hungarian Grand Prix, he'd set a new record for the most consecutive races, after which an Australian driver has been on the top of the standings. There we go. Last but no means least, Ollie Bearman has finished 11th in all of the last 4 Grand Prix. Another 11th place finish this weekend would set Bearman a new record for the most consecutive finishes in a position other than first. There we go. That's pretty much it. So there we go. That's the facts there. That's pretty much it then for our Hungarian Grand Prix preview. If you made it to the end, absolutely well done. Thank you so much for watching this. Really appreciated. And if you are not, please consider giving us a subscribe if you think it's worthwhile. If you're already subscribed, or you just like this video, literally hit that like button. That'll make us smile. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, and we'll see you again.